It was a beautiful day in Washington, D.C. I was taking a stroll around the National Mall, enjoying the fresh air and sunshine, when suddenly I heard some strange noises coming from the direction of the White House. At first, I thought it was just the sound of construction, but as I got closer, I realized it was something much worse. Zombies! That's right, zombies were pouring out of the White House, staggering around and moaning for brains. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I've dealt with a lot of crises in my time, but zombies? That was a new one. I quickly called up my old buddy Barack Obama and told him what was happening. "Barack," I said, "we've got a bit of a zombie problem on our hands." "Joe," he replied, "are you sure you're not just seeing things again?" I told him I was pretty sure, and that he should probably come down and take a look for himself. He agreed, and we met up at the edge of the National Mall. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen Barack Obama run, but let me tell you, the man can move. He took off towards the White House at a full sprint, dodging zombies left and right, while I stumbled along behind him, trying to keep up. When we finally made it to the White House, we found that the zombies had already overrun the place. There were dozens of them, shuffling around in the Oval Office and gnawing on the furniture. It was a mess. But Barack and I weren't about to let a few zombies get the better of us. We rolled up our sleeves and got to work, bashing in zombie skulls with golf clubs and throwing staplers at their heads. It was a sight to see, let me tell you. After a few hours of fighting, we managed to clear out the White House and get things back under control. The zombie outbreak was over, and the world was safe once again. As we walked back towards the National Mall, covered in zombie gore and feeling pretty proud of ourselves, I turned to Barack and said, "You know, I think I'm starting to get the hang of this president thing." Barack just chuckled and said, "Yeah, Joe. I think you're going to do just fine." Feeling pretty good about ourselves, Barack and I decided to treat ourselves to a celebratory milkshake at a nearby diner. We walked in, still covered in blood and guts, and the other patrons were understandably alarmed. But we didn't care. We were heroes, damn it. And heroes deserve milkshakes. As we sat at the counter, sipping our milkshakes and recounting our epic battle against the zombie horde, a news report came on the TV. It turns out, the zombie outbreak wasn't just limited to the White House. It had spread all across the country, and now millions of people were infected. Barack and I exchanged a worried look. "Joe," he said, "this is bad. Real bad." I nodded grimly. "We've got to do something about this, Barack. We can't just sit here and drink milkshakes while the world is falling apart." And so, we set off on a mission to save the world from the zombie apocalypse. We traveled from city to city, bashing in zombie heads and rallying survivors to our cause. We fought bravely and tirelessly, and eventually, we managed to find a cure for the zombie virus. As we stood before a cheering crowd of survivors, the weight of our accomplishment finally hit us. We had saved the world from certain doom, and we had done it together. Barack turned to me, a smile spreading across his face. "Joe," he said, "I couldn't have done this without you. You're a true friend, and a true hero." I smiled back at him, feeling a warm glow of pride and camaraderie. "Thanks, Barack," I said. "I couldn't have done it without you either." And with that, we hugged it out, our milkshake-stained shirts pressed together in a show of unity and friendship.